In women's epee, the two-day competition came down to the wire. Harvard's Emily Vermeulen and Isabella Chin held off Columbia and Princeton with a total of 30 points. 2023 foil champion Lauren Scruggs and teammate Jessica Guo combined for 37 points to lead all pairings, men or women, in any weapon. Guo and Scruggs will be the top 2 seeds in the individual foil competition. And for the second year in a row, Princeton fielded the women's best saber duo, featuring Ryan Jenkins and Alexandra Lee.
I think looking towards the finish of the women's competition, I'm really impressed by Harvard's performance, and I'm really looking forward to especially what they're going to show in the semifinals and finals in women's foil, given that they had both the 1 and 2 spots. But overall, really good performance from the women.
Yeah, the Irish men will have to complete a huge comeback if Notre Dame is to win their 4th straight NCAA team title. We'll recap the men's competition later in the show, but when we return, the women's individual semifinals and championship battle. Welcome back to Columbus, Ohio, host of the NCAA Fencing Championships at St. John Arena. This facility opened in 1956 and has been the home to many Buckeye teams throughout the years, including the NCAA men's basketball champions of 1960. Back with David Willett, I'm JB Long. We turn our attention now to the individual championships. What changes here in the semifinals?
So now the round robin portion is done, and we'll be going directly to 15 touch bouts in a direct elimination format, where we will decide the champion of the individual tournament.
All right, these semifinalists, the top 4, led by Cornell's Ketki Ketkar in women's epee. And she met the 4-seed Columbia's Tierna Oxenrider in our first semifinal.
Yeah, and this bout had an interesting start. So we started off with 2 passivity warnings, so passivity yellow and passivity red, which really set the tone. You cannot get another infraction, otherwise the bout ends. So the pace really picked up from there, with Oxenrider just starting that lead strong, and from there Ketkar really had to just be aggressive to try to catch up, but the defense was too strong from Oxenrider.
Now 15-7 was the final, so she advances to our gold medal bout and would face the winner of our second women's epee semifinal from St. John's, Nicole Fagan, and Harvard's Emily Vermeulen.
And this was another interesting bout. Also a little bit of a slow start, not quite as much as the previous semifinal. But what I want to take note of is Vermeulen also played this very defensively, and she was really strong on it. So most of the touches were scored on her back end of the strip, which if she gets an early lead, which she did, she's able to hold that really well.
A junior from Cambridge, Massachusetts, bringing her previous NCAA experience to the strip and completing a 15-6 triumph in the semifinal. So once again, here in Columbus, Ohio, she will fence for gold as she goes up against Tierna Oxenrider, the sophomore from Columbia, who is seeking to become that program's second NCAA women's epee champion.
I think this is going to be a really interesting final. Both of these fencers, as you can see, were going 16-7 in the initial round, so both of them having pretty similar performances throughout the tournament, and also both of them having kind of defensive wins in the last bout, so I'm very interested to see what's going to happen.
All right, let's transition to Emily now. She lost the 2022 final to the top seed Kaylin Shea of Notre Dame, and then bowed out in last year's semifinal to Princeton's Jessica Lynn. So she's advanced to the medal round or better in all 3 years of her career, and she's seeking to become Harvard's first NCAA women's epee champion. This time around, fencing with a heavy heart, because her brother Spencer, a fencer for Notre Dame, passed away in a vehicle accident early March. That was 3 weeks before these NCAAs, exactly 1 week before the regional qualifier. So David, her fencing wasn't a guarantee, and here she is paying tribute to his memory.
And, I mean, really impressively showing as strong performance as she ever has in years past.
On guard. Ready? Fence.
So I think it really will be interesting to see how this bout starts. So very often in epee, because defense is really where strength, a lot of strength is, a lead can be very critical, especially if both fencers have a defensive propensity. Not saying that they both do, but beginning who gets an early lead, especially by a decent margin, is very important to look out for.
And we begin this bout with a double, and David, you touched on this transition earlier, but I'm always fascinated at these NCAAs, how quickly the student athletes transition from the team mentality to now fencing for individual accolades.
It is a totally different kind of mindset and different type of pressure, right? One is, in the earlier rounds, you're fencing with your whole team kind of, looking at you to perform, and then now we go back to this kind of mindset where it's really just about your own accomplishment and pride, right? So it is a big shift in mindset, and obviously the 15 format is a lot different too. You have way more time to plan and change what you're doing. So I think everyone's a little bit more comfortable in 15s, right? You just have more time to figure stuff out.
The Harvard coaching staff told us that Emily never loses a bout that her team needs her to win, and that 95% of the bouts her teammates win are because they don't want to let Emily down. Well, now she's on her own against Tierna Oxenreider of Columbia. Single touch there from Oxenreider, and we're tied at 2.
So Emily Vermeulen, she's definitely showing to be the aggressor in this bout, and being much more comfortable pushing into Oxenreider's end of the strip. She's been very patient and picking her moments. If you notice, she does use a French grip, which I always think is kind of fun and notable about Epee that neither foil nor saber have. You can actually use a different type of grip on your weapon than what most people use, which is a pistol grip. And what that does is it gives you a little bit of extra reach, but what you sacrifice is strength and control of your blade. So I think that's a cool difference that Epee has over the other weapons.
We're in the final minute of the first of 3 periods if necessary, and unlike the 2 semifinals that we saw, a much more active first session between Oxenreider and Vermeulen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been pretty. As you can see, it's not to say that every touch is being scored every few seconds, but the energy level is really high. The pace that they're moving at. No touch awarded there. Ref called halt previously. Vermeulen just stepped off the strip for a little bit. So no penalties, but no touch.
Back on guard with 21 seconds left in the first.
Looks like both are backing off with very little time remaining.
The yellow card.
So there's a separate clock that actually that is counting outside of the regular time period clock, where if that reaches 0, basically meaning no one put on a light within a minute,
On guard.
there's a passivity warning that gets awarded to both fencers. So that actually went off right before the period ended. So even though I think they both agreed that nothing was going to happen before the period ended, that clock went off, so both still have to get the warning.
A reminder, it is a race to 15, although in Epee we don't always get to that finish line, even between Oxenreider and Vermeulen after 1. David, those first 3 minutes fence largely on Tierna Oxenreider's half of the strip, and I always think it's worth clarifying, especially in Epee, just because she's in that defensive posture doesn't mean she's fencing from her back foot. Absolutely, yeah.
That can just be where she is comfortable in most bouts, maybe in this specific bout. We don't have. We can definitely see that Vermeulen is very comfortable being being the aggressor. Oxenreider is very comfortable being the defender, but we haven't really established who is winning that in that situation, right? So looking to this period, I think it's going to be really interesting to see who starts actually figuring something out on that's actually going to let them pull ahead. Because if Oxenreider can pull ahead doing the same defense that she's doing, okay, well that's gonna present quite a challenge for Emily Vermeulen to really, because now she has to attack, but it's already not been working, right? So that presents its own challenge. Similarly, if Emily Vermeulen can get a lead attacking, right? Well, that means now that she not only can get a lead doing that, but she can also maintain her lead just by defending, and that'll put Oxenrider in a position where maybe she has to figure something else out entirely, in addition to being on the losing on defense too.
I'll note here that Oxenrider won the round robin between these two by a 5-1 margin. For Epee, that's eye-popping, and yet here we are in the championship, and it's Vermeulen in front by a 4-3 count.
Yeah, and also, what's noteworthy is that you can take that 5-pitch bat that you fenced earlier with them, and you can work a lot off of that, actually. Right? That's a fair amount of information that you can use as to change your plan going into a 15. And clearly, it seems like she has, because you're right, 5-1 is notable in Epee. So the fact that she's really, really started off strong this bout, I think speaks to a lot of the adjustments that she's made coming in.
Vermeulen with the first 2 touches of this second period, and 90 seconds to go in that frame.
And I also want to point out I know I pointed out the grip differences that they have, Oxenrider using a pistol grip, Vermeulen using a French grip, but I think it's worth noting how that changes your approach to the strategy of Epee, right? If you'll notice that Oxenrider is much more comfortable engaging the blade and beating the blade on a regular basis, whereas Vermeulen, because you have that sacrifice control and strength with the blade, you really don't want to deviate the blade much at all, because every parry that you make, every time someone parries your blade, you're at a disadvantage when you have to bring it back, right? You have much leverage and torque over your blade. So if you watch Vermeulen, her job really is to try to just find moments where she can strike very quickly, right, without much blade contact. Whereas Oxenrider wants to use that blade advantage. As you can see, she's engaging the blade a lot to try and get Emily Vermeulen to deviate her tip away to give her an opening to hit.
Halt was called there with no lights on. The score remains 6-4. Emily Vermeulen, regarded as the captain and the heart, soul, and emotional backstop of the entire Harvard fencing team. Today, trying to become that program's first NCAA Women's Epee champion.
Release, Emily.
Feels like a really critical touch there from Oxenrider to cut her deficit in half.
Yeah, that was a really nice touch. Engaging the blade, and then going right to the hand very quickly, kind of catching Vermeulen a little bit off guard.
10 seconds to go in the second, and both student athletes look content to take this to a third and decisive period in the women's Epee final. 6-5, Emily Vermeulen of Harvard leading Tierna Oxenrider of Columbia.
So we're still in position yet. Yeah, Emily Vermeulen has 1 touch lead, but we haven't seen really much change in the dynamic of this bout. It's still really close. We can't say definitively that anyone is really winning decisively with the way momentum's going. So I think looking toward the third period, they're going to be making a little bit more changes, but things will pick up, right? They can't take it to time anymore. Well, it certainly can go to time, but someone is going to be forced by the clock to try and catch up.
Just to review that second period a bit, Vermeulen got single touches for a 5-3 lead and then a double for 6-4, and that's where I thought the fifth for Oxenrider was so clutch, because going to this third in Epee, it's a huge difference down 1 versus down 2.
It is, absolutely. But still a long way to go, right? We have 9 and 10 touches to go for each to get to 15. So that's a lot of room to extend your lead. It's still a lot of touches to go. They're still starting off a little bit slow, so I'm curious to see how the pace can really pick up in the last minute.
Double touch there. Each fencer advances by 1.
On your legs, come on.
Ready? Fence.
Now we're seeing Emily Vermeulen kind of easing up a little bit, right? Before she was really pushing. Now she's still on Oxenrider's half of the strip, but she's very content to be like, okay, I don't need to push it that much. She does have a one-touch lead, and Oxenrider has been shown very willing to try to jump in on her on her forward steps. So Vermeulen kind of like, because she's calmed down and taking it a little bit slower, she was able to see that attack coming from further distance and able to get that counter.
I love how you sense that moment at this stage of the bout as she builds her lead back to 2, with just outside of 90 seconds to go between her and an Epee championship.
Legs.
There again, see, she backed off quite a lot. So when their blades are engaging, that gives Oxenrider kind of an opportunity to make a quick action into a preparation or unreadiness. But because Emily Vermeulen is doing a good job being, she's getting close now, but then backing off, it gives her a little bit of extra time to react. There she actually, I think, had an opportunity to hit. Vermeulen did. Missed, as you can see, and then the remise goes to Oxenrider.
Forward. Pull her in. You do a tip forward.
1 minute to go in our women's Epee final.
Right out. Finish. Out first.
Yeah, so now we see the dynamic shifting a little bit, right? Vermeulen having a 2-touch lead now with now under a minute. Now she has the luxury of being able, of time's on her side. So she's, for the first time in the bout we're really seeing now, Oxenrider having to push Vermeulen onto her side of the strip.
As long as Vermeulen keeps her light on, she's going to win a gold medal today in Columbus. 11-9 with 39 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and double touches are very favorable for Vermeulen right now.
There's another.
Maintaining this 2-touch gap is good. And that's part of why defense is so strong in Epee, is because you can just go for the double touches.
Ready? Fence.
Out.
Oh, and she just barely got her on the front of the hand on that one. As you can see.
Didn't look like much, did it, David?
It didn't. I think that one's almost more of a something that Oxenrider's going to be kicking herself for more than Vermeulen priding herself on. It was almost like her hand went into her tip rather than Vermeulen actually actively going for the target.
It's already been a special team weekend here in Columbus for the Harvard Crimson.
Fence.
Can Emily Vermeulen do something that no Harvard fencer before her has accomplished? Win a women's Epee championship at the NCAA level.
Really good fencing, and I think a really well-deserved result for, like you said, the heart and soul of the team. And there's Coach Daria Schneider congratulating her first women's Epee champion, Harvard's first women's Epee champion.
And we're fortunate to have Emily join us now, and we saw your emotion pour out at the end of the bout. Will you share with us where that comes from?
Probably a lot of people here know that my brother passed away pretty recently. So, of course, I was doing this for my Harvard fencing family because I'm so proud of everyone, and we've worked really hard to qualify 12, so we're looking really good so far. But I also was doing this for my parents and my brother, and I really wanted it for him. So it feels great to be able to say I did it.
No, you sure did. Thank you for sharing that with us. How do you think you got it done today?
I was hitting a lot under the hand. I was trying really hard to be patient, which usually is not a virtue I possess, but I decided it was my last bout of the season, so I was gonna really wait for my moment every touch, and I surprised myself with the hand touches. Usually I'm not too good at those.
Well, congratulations, Emily. We're happy for you and your family. You're an NCAA champion.
Thank you. Thank you.
Emily Vermeulen. What an inspirational triumph and an emotional tribute to her late brother, Spencer. All right, you're back in Columbus, and let's take a look at our women's foil qualifying results, with Harvard holding the top 2 spots behind Jessica Guo and Lauren Scruggs. David, this is your weapon. We'll go to our first semifinal. It was the 4 seed, Rebecca Condescu of Notre Dame, challenging Guo.
Yeah, and I've got a lot to say about both of these Harvard fencers, and mainly about how they are both, real all-stars in this event right now. Guo, she's a freshman, but she has come on the scene really, really strong, not just in NCAAs, but also in the world scene. And you can say the same about Lauren Scruggs, which we'll talk a little bit about in the next time. But, Guo just showing how strong she really is. This bout, while I wouldn't call it a blowout, it was a really, really strong show, right? It was never that close. She just showed, that she was winning the bout the whole time. Lauren Scruggs, familiar face. She won last year. Super talented fencer. Really, really fun to watch. High energy, high flair style, which she almost always shows. And again, a really strong performance from her. I'm really, really interested to see what's going to happen between her and her teammate Guo, not just because they both are really, really impressive on the world stage in women's foil, but because they're teammates, right? So that always creates an interesting dynamic of them knowing each other so well.
Interesting, team success doesn't always translate to the medal round, but in this case, it does. Harvard has a chance, and in fact has clinched another championship, this time in women's foil. The only question, will it be the junior from Queens or the freshman from Canada? And David, you already mentioned it, but she's trying to go back-to-back. Let's flash back to 2023 at Duke.
And here we see her last year's win. Really, really impressive bout. I think this year is going to be a lot harder for her. Fencing a teammate who's, like I said, is doing so well. I don't know how to favor it. Someone who has more experience and coming as the incumbent champion, or the freshman who did better in the preliminary round.
Well, David, this is the illustrious list she's trying to join of multiple-time women's foil champions. It includes your sister Doris.
That's right, and she was the last women's foil NCAA champion that Penn State had. But it's foil does kind of lend itself to having those repeat champions. It is the most consistent weapon of all the three. So when you really have someone that's as really dominant in the weapon, it's common that you can see them come back as champions. And as we saw in that graphic, when they're performing well, they bring it back every year. This one, though, I really think that this is no easy, going to be really tough for Lauren. A really, really talented fencer in Jessica Guo, her teammate, right? So I think you have to throw away how you look at these two fencers on paper, because they know the ins and outs of each other so well. I also think it's interesting, they're both on the shorter side and both left-handed. So both of them maybe stylistically going to fence each other in a different way that they'd fence a lot of other people on the circuit. So a lot of interesting things to watch out for.
Yeah, shout out to the Southpaws. How unique is that to have two lefties and two teammates on this championship strip?
It's well, they are the minority, but I think there's plenty of people that would say that it has its advantages. So they pop up more than they are statistically likely to start as left-handed. That's a few attacks now that Lauren's gone for and missed.
Ready, fence.
Quick 4-0 start for the freshman, who has a reputation for being extremely insightful, level-headed about the tactical and psychological side of this sport. We've seen that on display right away against Scruggs.
Yeah, I think we've already really seen kind of the differences in these two stylistically, right? Even though they are in stature pretty similar, Lauren is she's much more flashy. She likes to go. She pulls her blade back a lot. She's high risk. She goes for difficult to hit targets, which Jessica Guo is capitalizing on that, right? So she's gotten several counterattacks, knowing that Lauren Scruggs' blade's too far away. You can't hit me now. Jessica Guo, conversely, is much more. I would call it, you could say conservative in her style. So doesn't like a lot of those high risk actions as much, and will punish you for making them.
Beat attack arrives. Touch left.
Yeah, the beat attack arrives well described there as she tried to throw out point in line to slow down her teammate.
Ready?
Really nice touch by Lauren. So she just makes that quick flick to the back, and I don't think Jessica Guo really thought. You can see she countered almost like there, where I think she really didn't think that was gonna she was gonna get hit on that one. But Jessica Guo doing a good job of playing it cool on defense and then waiting for the right moments to hit Lauren.
Unlike what we just saw in Epee, a 4-touch deficit for Scruggs not insurmountable. Like if she solves the puzzle, she can go on a run herself and narrow this deficit.
Definitely, yes. It's. I mean, you never want to be down, obviously, but there's no. There isn't the same mountain that you have to climb in foil when it comes to an early deficit.
A broken piece of equipment somewhere here as we check the replay. Both lights on. That also gives us a chance to establish right-of-way priority. Unlike Epee, no double touches allowed. The director here has to decide who initiated the action.
So Lauren getting that last touch that we didn't see them reset quite, but bring up to 3-6.
That's right.
And then we see Jessica Guo getting a nice remise. Like she made that really long attack, like long lunge. You saw Lauren kind of really, like literally, weight on her back foot. And then, so because of that, she really wasn't able to capitalize on the repost, and Jessica Guo kind of just inching out that remise. The remise being kind of an action that you make after your initial attack with right-of-way fails.
Attack left, this time it's Scruggs, and it's awfully quiet in here, David. It's worth pointing out the fencing tradition that when teammates go head-to-head, everyone holds their tongue.
That's right, yeah. So you no cheering, no coaching. And there we saw that last touch. We saw, I think Jessica Guo was a little bit, confused as to why she may not have gotten that touch. What happened was she was looking for the blade. She hesitated a little bit, and Lauren Scruggs capitalized on it.
Ready? Fence.
Got a few seconds left in the last period. Looks like they're going to back off, but 8-4 is a strong lead.
Nice first period for Jessica Guo. The Harvard staff telling us this week that she fences and practices with the same competitiveness and spirit, whether it's a practice bout against a walk-on or a championship bout against someone from Notre Dame, or even the finals of an Olympic qualifying World Cup. As for Scruggs, Daria Schneider is saying that every year she's been at Harvard, the team has gotten better. It's part of her legacy and the mark she's leaving on this program.
Yeah, and you can see, their foil team is so strong. It's been, you mentioned the Olympics. Both of these women are going to the Olympics for their respective teams. The U.S. for Lauren Scruggs and Canada for Jessica Guo, and both are really, really strong teams too.
Speaking of Olympians, Notre Dame's total largely racked up by Lee Kiefer and her great NCAA run. Now it's Harvard's turn. Here are the last 5 champions. Scruggs looking to go back-to-back, her freshman teammate standing in her way. 3 minutes back on the clock for our second period. It's a 4-touch lead for Guo.
Yeah, and I think given the pace that we've seen so far, the onus is really on Lauren to figure something out. Lauren's been really trying to use her normal attacks against Jessica Guo, but Jessica Guo is really, she's waiting, and picking her times and doing these nice counterattacks. And there, actually, we see 2 attacks, too, that she's got. So, really, nothing consistently going Lauren's directions yet. So she really needs to figure something out.
Patient build there, but unable to finish.
She loves going for those risky targets so much, and I think Jessica Guo knows that. And she's patient, she's disciplined, and she's just waiting for those times where she overcommits and then she hits her.
Knees to the riposte. Switch left.
Guo clinging to the strip with that left heel, but her
Under.
teammate able to score it.
Ready. Fence.
Saber-like simultaneous there.
Check from the right.
Yeah,
Switch right.
the ref is reviewing that. It was close. So Jessica
Under,
Guo
ready.
was
Fence.
pushing slowly. Lauren Scruggs thought she might be able to catch her in
Ball.
preparation,
Lead attack
but
now.
it wasn't enough.
Counterattack.
How about the
Right.
point control from Jessica Guo? She's been on target in this
Ready.
final.
Fence.
She has, absolutely. And it kind of goes back to what talking about earlier about the risk that they take. Lauren's point is she's always going for flicks to the back and and big actions, whereas Jessica Guo's is her tip doesn't deviate nearly as much from the target, and so she's able to keep her stay accurate and capitalize on moments of mistakes from Lauren.
Attack overhead. Touch left.
There, Lauren actually for landing her attack. I think she set that up well, kind of like baiting out the counterattack and going for
Ready. Fence.
an easier target to hit. I think she'll need to do that more.
Attack. I think you stop it. I think you stop and then.
So there's another one that comes into question. We'll see a replay here. So there, I'm inclined to agree with Lauren there that there is preparation on the side of Jessica Guo, but the call still stands.
Ready. Fence.
Attack from the right.
Right attack.
And there's the finishing touch from the freshman. Jessica Guo knocks off Lauren Scruggs. Harvard goes back-to-back, but it's Guo's turn atop the podium.
Really well fenced. She fenced a really good bout, and I have to imagine that on different days we're going to see a different person come out on top between these two because they are so equally matched. But well deserved from Jessica Guo today.
Jessica, you've dominated the competition here in Columbus. What was the key to your success?
I think my teammates and all the coaches supporting me behind my back, and I just know that my whole team is behind me, so I think I was fencing with no fears, so it really helped.
All Harvard so far, back-to-back individual titles as Jessica Guo tops teammate and defending champion Lauren Scruggs to become the 2024 NCAA Women's Foil Champion. Ryan Jenkins of Princeton and Maggie Sheely of Brandeis, the top two in women's saber, each with 18 round-robin victories. Jenkins, by an indicator, will be the 1 seed, and her semifinal matches her up against Julia Cieslar of St. John's.
Yeah, and this was a fast-paced bout, as you would expect in saber. A lot of touches that are happening in the middle, again, which is pretty common. But it was really close through a lot of the bout. Break at 8-6, so no huge lead there. And towards the end of the bout, there was a little bit of a questionable call, but then from there, Cieslar really kind of held on to the momentum and closed it out 15-9.
All right, so representing St. John's, she moves into one half of our championship bout. Maggie Sheely of Brandeis has been here before. Could she get through Vera Kong of Columbia to give herself a chance to fence for gold?
Yeah, and Maggie Sheely, as we saw, not a stranger to the Final Four round. But, I think there's a couple things to say. One, really noticeable to see Brandeis here in the top four, but also that we don't see anyone from Notre Dame or Harvard in the final, which historically they've both had very strong saber showing. So Maggie Sheely, really fencing well throughout, not just this year, and we saw her fence well last year, but now she's in the final, and we'll see what she can do.
Yeah, she's a graduate student from Chapel Hill. Her opponent's a junior from Poland, both making their third NCAA appearance. Speaking of Sheely specifically, let's flash back to the 2023 semifinal. She was the top seed, but lost to Tartakovsky of Harvard.
Yeah, and also very good fencer in Tartakovsky. So a tough final, but she has another opportunity here.
She's the only Division III athlete here in Columbus. That's notable. Out of all three weapons at this championship, one of the most improved fencers across her college career. And David, as for Cieslar, she's seeking to join the Sister Act. Carolina was an NCAA champion as well.
Yeah, we see a list of sibling NCAA champions. We've had a decent amount over the years, and then there's an even longer list of people who have had very impressive siblings performances. Maybe not both NCAA champions.
I see you giving Doris another shout out on the show. I appreciate that. Well done, David.
Well, it's more of a, I think, disappointment on my end. If you know, it was me that didn't make it there.
Very humble of you. Here we go with our women's saber final. Attack right to begin. Julia strikes first.
On guard. Ready. Fence. Halt.
And so I think one thing to really watch out for in saber is whenever the ref says fence, that moment exactly is more important in this weapon than using any other weapon. When the ref says fence, you have to be totally ready and have a plan with what you're going to do already. Because it is so fast and the attack is so strong in this weapon, both fencers have to be ready either to attack and know how they're going to attack immediately, or have a plan already set on how they're going to defend themselves against their opponent's attack.
Sheely gets credit for the parry there and lands the riposte. She's back within one.
So you see an attack going to Maggie Sheely there.
On guard. Ready. Fence.
Sheely 5'3" on a good day, according to her coaching staff, but fencing well above her stature here at the NCAAs.
Ready.
Yeah, and height is definitely, it's a factor in every weapon, but certainly a factor in saber. So 5'3", definitely it's not a lot of height to work with.
I think she's asking for a replay challenge. Each fencer is entitled to 2 incorrect challenges at the monitor.
After she misses, you search attack touche.
So Maggie Sheely called the replay because she thought she had the time on the kind of redoublement of her attack. The referee saying that you didn't quite go with your arm, you didn't commit to the attack early enough. You kind of looked for the blade on the way in, so she did not get that one. But she gets the 5th touch.
Twice now she's caught Ciesler in her preparation, and now it's Julia's turn to challenge.
So it is saber is the tightest weapon to call because the attack is so powerful in saber, and so you see a lot of people attacking at the same time. They kind of have to have a little bit more nuance as to how tightly they call preparation or hesitation in saber. So it's tough to see.
Ready. Fence. Attack from the right.
So there we see kind of a little bit of reversal. So Maggie Sheely her legs are moving forward, but she sees she wasn't ready to hit with her hand. So preparation is called against her. So the touch goes to
Sheely hits the 8 break with a 3-touch lead. She's got the most wins in Brandeis fencing history, more than 300 during the regular season. She's graduated summa cum laude, majoring in poli-sci and getting her master's in public policy as well. Serves as a substitute teacher for special ed students in a nearby public school district in her free time.
Yeah, she's doing a lot. It's really impressive. And not only that, the progression that she's made since she's been at Brandeis, going from a B-rated fencer, which is not that high in the grand scheme, but then going to at her highest 11th in the country last year. It's a big improvement.
Now here's the element you touched on. It is an Olympic year, but to see Notre Dame absent from the women's saber championships is noticeable, to say the least. Likewise for Harvard, as we look at recent NCAA champions. We'll have a new school represented here today.
Ready. Fence.
Sheely's completely flipped this bout from an early deficit.
Ready. Fence.
Saber definitely another weapon where we can see it's a very momentum-based weapon. Things happen so fast. If you start just making the right decisions, things can really go your way. So definitely Julia Cieslar not out of it, but momentum in Maggie Sheely's favor right now.
5'3", plenty of length to that attack. She's the first to double digits.
Preparation called against Julia Cieslar. Attack going to Maggie Sheely.
On guard. The line, please. Ready. Fence. Attack.
That's a nice long attack from Julia Cieslar. So goes forward the whole way, and it just barely evades the parry of Maggie Sheely and just finishes the
Ready,
attack.
fence.
Nice response from Cieslar here. She's back within 3.
Ready, fence.
And a really close one there. You see how the attack almost lands right just barely after the parry was made by Maggie Sheely, so very close.
Maggie Sheely closing in on the first NCAA title in Brandeis history. She's within 2.
Really nice finish to that attack. She goes under and kind of just barely touches.
Sheely acknowledging that touch from Cieslar there without a challenge.
Ready, fence.
And gets it right back.
Yeah, a nice early finish there. She kind of sees the opening and then closes Julia Cieslar out, so she doesn't even hit the target at all.
Ready, fence.
Nice repost from Julia Cieslar. Still making good decisions, but she's got can't make any mistakes here.
Ready, fence.
History for Maggie Sheely and the Brandeis fencing program.
Really impressive win. There's her coach, Matt Zick, saber coach from back in my day. Clearly they're working well together.
Long climb throughout her career. It ends with an NCAA championship. Congratulations, Maggie. We see your emotion. Why does this mean so much to you?
Yeah, this has been something really long time in the making, and I'm so grateful for my mom, my coaches, and my teammates, and everyone who just put in effort to help me succeed. So I feel like this is a really big culmination of everyone's hard work. So I'm just so happy to be able to bring this home to Brandeis and for myself and for my mom and all the other coaches who have helped me along the way.
And so what is it like to be the only Brandeis woman fencing at these championships?
I mean, you can definitely say that numerically, but honestly, what I really enjoyed is the camaraderie from my other friends and other girls that I've met along the way, so I'm just really thankful.
Maggie Sheely makes history as the first NCAA fencing champion for Brandeis. When we return, we'll recap the men's round robin and crown a team national champion. ESPN's coverage of the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship continues on Friday with Final Four coverage at 7 p.m. Eastern and 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. In the last 10 NCAA fencing championships, 4 schools have divided the hardware, with Notre Dame leading the way with 5 titles, including 3 in a row. But for the Irish to add to their trophy case this weekend, the men would have to author a historic comeback, because the Harvard men's Epee is picked up right where the women's team left off. Henry Lawson and Mihir Hamashi earned 33 points, easily finishing atop the Epee standings. Penn's Foilers collected 35 points combined with their bout victories. Bryce Louie and teammate Blake Grosses with the top 2 seeds in the semifinals. And for a second straight year, Notre Dame did lead the way in men's saber. 2-time NCAA champion Luke Linder and his teammate Alexander Lacaze earned 36 points for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The ND men certainly closed the gap, but it was not enough to overtake Harvard, the 2024 NCAA team champion. The Crimson earned their second fencing title and the first since 2006.
I think it's really a great showing by Harvard. Really well-deserved from Daria, who's been working so hard for the program and really showing a lot of good results and improvement.
All right, we'll cover Harvard's historic win and hear from Coach Schneider later in this broadcast. But when we return, the men's individual semifinals and championship bouts at the 2024 NCAA Fencing Championship. Welcome back to Columbus and to the campus of the Ohio State University, home of the Buckeyes and historic St. John Arena. Our home this week as Ohio State hosts the NCAA Fencing Championships for the 8th time, including the very first back in 1941. Our men's epee qualifying results had Henry Lawson of Harvard and Alan Marakoff of Duke tied atop the standings with 17 victories apiece. That sets up our first semifinal with Tristan Sapari trying to knock off Lawson and the Crimson.
I think it's also really noticeable to see how close those scores were, not just between the top 4 fencers, in 17 wins and 16 wins for the first 2 and second 2 respectively, but the fact that 5th and 6th were also at 16 wins, so really, really close field. In this first bout, Lawson takes an early lead, although it was a slow start to the bout, so a minor lead. Midway through the bout, Sapari ends up getting on a 3-touch run and catching a lead, and he just maintained it from there to close it out 15-9.
And so he's one half of our championship bout in men's epee. Our second semifinal featured Marakoff, the 2 seed from Duke, and Jonathan Hamilton Michael from Notre Dame.
And here, this is a fun bout to watch. It was, I think, it was really, really back and forth, not just in score, which was very, very close throughout the entire really first part of the bout, but back and forth literally meaning they were on both sides of the strip. They were employing a lot of different actions, so a lot of good variety. Fun bout to watch. In the end, Jonathan Hamilton Michael ends up pulling ahead a little bit, a lot of double touches in there, but closes the bout out 15-12.
This was already a career best result for both of these student athletes, but ultimately it's Hamilton Michael who's going to have a chance to fence for a national championship, a 3-touch win, and he also had a 3-touch win in the round robin competition against his championship opponent, Tristan Sapari. And from the team perspective, for Notre Dame, they've got a chance to produce their first NCAA men's epee titleist since 2005. Similarly for Princeton, it's been a dozen years since Princeton had a men's epee champion. So a good matchup here in our final from Columbus. It's a senior from Pennsylvania for Princeton and a sophomore from Budapest, Hungary for the Fighting Irish, who actually arrived in the second semester last year and jumped right into the season without having much time to acclimate to South Bend. And David, it's been many moons, but I once had to go from the San Francisco Bay Area to South Bend, and that took me the better part of 4 years to adjust to. So I can only imagine what Jonathan is experiencing now.
That's right, yeah, coming all the way from Hungary into South Bend. Look, despite South Bend as a city maybe being a lot different than Budapest, I don't think adjusting to the luxury of coming into the Notre Dame fencing team is too hard for anyone. I mean, they've got a life pretty good there at Notre Dame. They really help out their athletes, and it's a really welcoming team. So I'm sure he's right at home.
And their championship culture, a little bit different this year. It often is during the Olympic year for the fencers from South Bend.
It is, yes. So Notre Dame one of the things they do really well is not just produce a truly championship team, quality team year after year, but they do so well at making the fencers just thrive outside of collegiate fencing too. So Coach Gia, he's really, he's big on letting fencers take time off to achieve those Olympic dreams, and Notre Dame has a massive record of Olympians that have been on the fencing team, so they're doing something right.
I can't wait for Paris 2024, but right now it's Columbus 2024 and a chance for a new champion in men's epee.
Yeah, and a unique opportunity for both of these as it's both of their first time appearing in the top 4 or even placing in the top 8. So a really good performance from both of these fencers compared to previously.
They'll both go home All-Americans. It's just a matter of who's going to clinch the gold medal here. A 1-1 start, about the midway point of our first of 3 periods if necessary. It's a race to 15 or the clock expiring.
I definitely don't anticipate seeing this go to time. It's not uncommon for this to, as we see here, a passivity card to be awarded. So just to explain what that is, if neither fencer puts on a light within a minute, then a passivity warning, which is called a passivity yellow card, is awarded to both fencers. If that happens again, where no one puts on a light within a span of a minute running time, there we see a really nice toe touch. Sorry to interrupt my own thought, but nicely done at the end of Hamilton-Michael's strip, just hitting that toe. But back to the passivity rule. If it happens again, they are both awarded a passivity red card. And so from there, that doesn't mean anyone scores a touch. It's just your final warning. And if it happens a third time, which is the passivity black, the person who is ahead in score at the end of the bout will immediately win. If it is tied at that point, then the higher seeded fencer wins. So we haven't really ever seen it go to passivity black because the fencers obviously really don't want that to happen. But those are the rules in case it does go further.
Final minutes of our first period. Saw Sapari get the toe tap, now landing on the torso to take the lead at 4-2.
Yeah, he stayed patient. Jonathan Hamilton-Michael tried to, dive in on the distance, and Tristan Sapari kept far enough away and was able to get that reach out and hit the kind of the shoulder before he got hit.
For an Epee head to toe, the entire body a valid target.
Another really, really nice toe touch.
How hard is this to land, David?
It's hard. It's really hard. Some people are especially some Epeeists are better at it than others because it's just something that they like that target and they practice it more. So I think you have to. That's two touches from Tristan Sapari. As Jonathan Hamilton-Michael, that has to be top of mind, right? When that happens to you twice, right? Where it wasn't a remise, first shot toe. You have to be laser focused. So basically, you have to watch. And if you see someone's body movement just start to go downwards, you have to pull your toe immediately. And that's a reaction that a lot of Epeeists have. Is you don't really parry that target because it is so far from your normal guard position, so it takes too long. You just have to kind of lift that foot up and just pull your toe back.
What do you think? Next year, should we list shoe size on our graphics for men's Epee? Maybe that would be a year-over-year improvement we could focus on. Here we go to the second period. It's a matchup of Princeton and Notre Dame for the national title in men's Epee.
One of the closing thought on the toe touch is not only I think one of the things that is actually the most impressive thing about it is not that it's an impossibly small target to hit. It's that you have to hit it very quickly, because the risk of a toe touch. So the benefit of a toe touch is it's very far from where your opponent's blade normally is, so it's kind of open in that regard, but it's really far away, right? So by going down there, you're putting yourself a lot of risk, because when you aim for that target, your blade is no longer close to his focus point and where your target is. So it's high risk. So you have to execute it extremely quickly in order to do it before getting hit in the process. So it's a hard target to hit, and you got to do it fast. And first shot.
Whereas here, even if you miss on your first attempts,
right,
there's an ability to follow up.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see him kind of like coming back and defending himself after, because you're going for a target where you can defend yourself closely afterwards.
Sapari using the entirety of the strip to build a 5-touch lead.
Yeah, he's fencing really well, really smart, picking targets, like those toe touches really well, using his blade well, just showing really good technique and understanding. There we see Jonathan Hamilton-Michael getting his first one in a little bit.
Ready, fence.
1 minute into our second of 3 stanzas.
Oh,
And a double touch there.
Ready. Fence.
There we see kind of the defensive dynamic that we've talked about before in Epee, right? Where defense is so strong in Epee because of what we're seeing now, which is those double touches. Tristan Sapari, he's in a position now with a 4-touch lead that he can really just play it safe and just keep good distance and react to what Jonathan Hamilton Michael is doing, and then just go for a double touch. There we see I think he kind of missed his first action, so he didn't get that double there. And Jonathan Hamilton Michael could be close distance and was able to get it. But the onus is on him to outsmart Tristan Sapari in order to gain back the ground that he's lost. There it is, a good start.
Hamilton Michael back in it. Trim the deficit to 2.
Still only the second period, so plenty of time to do it.
Feel the punch-counter-punch nature of this men's Epee bout. You go all the way back to the round robin, which Hamilton Michael won 5-2. Tristan Sapari clearly making an adjustment in anticipation of this championship bout. And now Jonathan answering back.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the bout, Hamilton Michael was a little bit more inclined to go deep into the body of Tristan Sapari. But Sapari's distance was good enough where he could just pick him off in the arm on the way in. But we've seen the last few touches, Jonathan Hamilton Michaels managed to hit Tristan Sapari's arm, so it puts him much less at risk. So a good adjustment. I'm not sure if that was a conscious decision or whether he just maybe wasn't able to hit them at the beginning of the bout, but definitely made some kind of adjustment to be able to hit the arm better.
Got 20 seconds to go in this second period as both fencers check the clock. Even a glance over his shoulder there by Tristan. He wants to take this to the third with a 1-touch advantage. And that appears to be where we are heading. We'll pause briefly here. Princeton and Notre Dame came up short in the team standings, but a chance to collect some individual hardware in Columbus. You're back in Columbus as we rejoin this men's Epee final in the third period. Tristan Sapari of Princeton leading Jonathan Hamilton Michael of Notre Dame by 1 in a race to 15.
Yeah, still, we thought we had a little bit of a spread going on earlier in the bout. Sapari at one point had a 4-touch lead, but Hamilton Michael bringing it back to just before now. 1-touch, 2-touch deficit now. Still anybody's game.
Come on, Johnny.
Ready. Fence.
But as we go into the last period, I think Hamilton Michael's really going to have to look at this and say, and even that double touch, so the score differential doesn't change. Every touch that Sapari gets closer to 15 is very dangerous for Hamilton Michael. Much better to be down 2 at 10-8 than at 14-12.
Jonathan playing the score and the clock now, just outside of 2 minutes remaining.
There we go. Okay, so that's the game for Jonathan Hamilton Michael, right? He really needs to put on one light now to put himself in the lead. From there, if he can do that, then he allows himself a lot more luxury of being able to go for doubles.
Good action there. It ends in a double light. You saw Sapari miss on a toe tap. Jonathan's made the adjustments. But again, that margin shrinking as we inch closer to the 15-touch finish line.
Ready? Fence.
Yeah, we see it was well done by Tristan Sapari too. So Jonathan Hamilton Michael tried to take the blade on the way in, but Sapari kind of going around it quickly and just hitting him on the arm to get the double.
It's a big single there for Tristan. And you can see from his celebration, he's sensing victory now.
Yeah, a big touch indeed. Within 2, so that leaves Hamilton Michael
Ready? Fence.
almost no room for error now. Oh, a little bit of a scrappy touch there. So both of them kind of not putting their lights on their first intention actions at all, and
Ready? Fence.
but Hamilton Michael ended up putting on the remise first. So
Wow, with the bout hanging in the balance. A double. And Tristan's within 1.
it's tough. It's tough. So I mean, Sapari in a good position right now.
Ready?
He has options, whereas Hamilton Michael really needs to put on single light.
A double will do it for Tristan Sapari, a first-time NCAA champion in men's epee.
Yeah, really close bout here. I think it was well fenced by both. Hamilton Michael, he got down a little bit in the beginning. I think he couldn't quite figure out a way to consistently put on one lights on it when he was attacking. But really good on Sapari to stay disciplined. He knew what his job was, what he had to do, what was working for him. He stayed with it even when it was close, and sometimes that can be hard.
Well, congratulations, Tristan. How does it feel to be an NCAA champion?
Feels good. I don't think it's hit yet. Today is really brutal. There's a lot of fencing, but it's also very mental. So it's going to take a minute, but feeling good.
How'd you come out on top in this back-and-forth bout?
I realized in epee there's doubles. That's sort of the good and bad thing about epee. So I knew if I could just get closer to that 15-touch mark, maybe I wasn't sort of making the lead any bigger, but if I could get there using the doubles and sort of counterattacking when I needed, I could clinch it.
Yeah, taking advantage of your early edge. Tristan Sapari, your 2024 men's epee champion, the 15th NCAA individual title for Princeton, and their 6th in this weapon. Men's foil is next. Men's foil is next on the championship strip, and Bryce Louie from Penn, 3 victories clear of the pack. We had to decide the other semifinal spots on an indicator with Blake Brosis, Sam Kumbla, and Daniel Zhang, all with 16 victories. It's Zhang in the first semifinal against Louie.
Yeah, this is a strong field, and it's good to see Bryce here in the Final Four. We haven't seen him here. I haven't seen him here in the past couple of years, but he's so capable of it. He's a great fencer. I've known him a long time. His older brother, actually, he's around my age in fence. So Bryce being a bit younger, but I have known him for a while. He's a really, really talented fencer. High energy, really flashy touches as well, which when they're working, look amazing, right? And you see that last touch here. Just a really, really nice flick to the back. Great fencer to watch. I'm excited to see him in the final.
You or his brother teaching him those victorious dance moves there, David?
That's definitely his brother. His brother is very much like that.
So Louie, the top seed, moving into the final. He'll face the winner of Blake Brosis and Sam Kumbla.
Sam Kumbla also won with a sibling brother fencer. His brother Siddharth Kumbla also. And actually, there's Bryce's brother right there, Brennan. He's the coaching for Penn. But a nice semifinal here. Also a really high-paced bout. Pretty a close bout. Brosis pulling ahead at the end, but really well fenced. Sam Kumbla is a very tough opponent. Really, really well-performing up-and-comer these days.
So it's an all-Penn final between a couple of seniors, and there's some California love in this men's foil championship as well. San Jose against LA. to decide the gold medal.
Yeah, the classic Northern versus Southern California battle. Surely these two know each other well, not just from being from the same state, but both being seniors together and having trained together for 4 years now. So to have both of them here, I mean, I know they're both really good friends. So I think they're both really happy to have each other here, you know, facing each other in the final here on their last year, and they're not going to leave anything back.
And with their semifinal victories, Penn is guaranteed its first NCAA men's foil title since 1997.
Yeah, that's a long time. But definitely a couple fencers that are deserving of this to be here right now.
As we move from epee to foil, a reminder that white lights signify off target. No touch awarded, back on guard.
That's right, yes. This is the only weapon where there are those white lights really come into play, where we have off targets.
And so even though a red light came on there, it was Bryce's attack. He landed off target. No touch awarded.
There's the Bryce pushing the attack, but one light counterattack from Broses. So.
Ready? Fence.
Oh, nice flick to the chest there.
Renewed attack touch. Guard. Ready? Fence.
Bryce definitely bigger on flicking motions than I think a lot of his peers in this age. It was a lot. It was really, I think, more popular around when I was fencing, flicking both to the chest against lefties and just kind of making a lot of actions with flicking motions in general. It's a little bit fallen out of favor since then, but I think Bryce kind of really embodies that old style.
What are the pros and cons?
It is higher risk, so it's easier to miss if someone closes in distance on you.
Yes, go ahead.
But you can execute actions faster because you're, you can kind of whip it around corners a little bit better, and when you make those motions, you're going really fast. So it's a little bit harder to defend sometimes, but also easier to miss.
Who's got the best finishing flick in foil?
Probably Garrick Meinhardt.
Former Notre Dame standout and national champion, set for Paris 2024 with Team USA.
Attack stops and then reprise of attack. Touch. On guard. Ready. Fence. Halt. Attack is parried. Repose. Touch. On guard.
See a little bit too much hesitation there from Bryce.
Fence.
Bros is able to capitalize on the counterattack there.
Preparation. Attack from left. Left touch.
Yeah, we see it's almost the exact same thing there happened again. So Bryce is very much favoring that kind of pushing and taking the blade as he's going in. He's kind of like a way for himself to look for a target as he's going forward. But if you get too close, like he did there again, right when if you're close and you are looking for the blade and not ready to hit, your opponent has the opportunity to counterattack, right? Because every time, for the most part, when you're trying to take the blade, you're not in a position where you're going to hit very effectively. So I think that's probably I'm sure that'll be top of mind for Bryce going forward, is not coming forward so close with his blade.
5 apiece. It's become a 10-touch bout between Brosis and Louis, teammates from Penn.
Nice finish from Brosis there. He really just kind of really slow but precise attack, kind of under the guard of Bryce.
Attack right, the ruling from Louis.
So we see Bryce here. He's moving forward a little bit already. Brosis says he sees a little bit of a back foot motion from Bryce Louis. So he's saying, that his attack stops. That should be my attack. Ref keeps the call as is. Still Bryce Louis' attack. So we see now Bryce is taking a little bit smaller steps because he knows he's been hit on those counters several times now. So he's a bit more careful.
Right attack arrives. Touch. Point. On guard.
Nicely done there. So he's kept his distance, like we said, making stuff smaller, not getting so close. Ends up baiting the counterattack from Broses, and then ends up getting the repost from it.
Oh, riposte arrives from right.
Righty lands another in close quarters.
Okay.
Yeah, another repost, a strong repost there. So, I mean, Bryce is really strong once he gets the blade in close. It looks like he's that's just a lot of what he's waiting for. And I think that was his game plan at the beginning, too, as he's going forward with the blade. He's just going a little bit too fast with his feet where he can't react fast enough. But now he's doing a good job adjusting the distance.
Halt. Attack with fair is parried. Riposte off target right. On guard.
Final minute of the first, an off-target attack there. 9-6 the score remains.
Ready. Fence.
No touch there. Final actions, repost from Bryce.
Okay.
Off target.
Ready. Fence. Halt. Remise of attack.
Yeah, nice little kind of save of Broses' initial action. So he really chased with the attack.
Ready.
Bryce kind of changed direction on a dime, so Broses realized he was too close to hit, but he adjusted his blade and stuck it in at the end.
I'll go to the monitor here to confirm.
Yeah, so they both kind of pause in the beginning, and the question is who starts first, Blake Broses. He does get the jump on Bryce there.
Okay. Ready.
Our director's given us very good verbal descriptions of his rulings. It's been a nice element to have in this foil championship. He's going back to the review monitor here.
Preparation on the search. Attack 2.
Yeah, so Blake is doing a really good job of catching Bryce in prep and making good action there. He put out his arm to threaten Bryce, and so he would take the parry and he went right around it. So that was, even though Bryce is moving forward, that's why it was called preparation.
Louis took the parry and scored that time. He's back in front 10-9. Man, able to finish a well-built attack, 11-9.
Yeah, chase him all the way down, then a nice feint disengage at the end.
Ready. Fence.
Oh, finally, both lights on.
Yeah, a nice infighting exchange. So we see why Bryce misses the first one. He catches the parry here, which is a really good by him. It's not easy to catch those late parries so close. And there we see same thing as earlier, kind of, but this time going in Bryce Louis' favor. They both hesitate in the center. Bryce Louis starts first. I think Broses is replaying it. I think that's definitely going to go to Bryce. It looks pretty clear to me. But we've talked about it before. You get two wrong replays about. With Bryce at 13, I think that was a useful replay from Blake Broses. Even if he knew it probably wasn't going to go his way, he doesn't have a lot of time in the bout to use them. So it's an important touch, and if it can go his way, there's even a chance.
Parry riposte scores at the end of the first.
Yeah, I want to see the replay on that one. So the ref called parry. I think there's a decent chance that that the parry might have missed. Yeah, he does. Yeah, so he changes it. So it turns out that he says, no, you didn't actually grab the blade. I think that's the right call.
Ready. Fence.
Time didn't start, but we are definitely going to decide this in the second period. Bryce Louis within one of a national championship. He fell short of his Olympic aspirations, but the appointment of his brother Brendan as Penn's new foil coach really brought his performance to the next level this spring. Blake fenced for Canada at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics and is likely to represent Canada again in Paris this summer.
Yeah, Bryce is a really, really good fencer, but he's up against some tough competition competing for the Olympic team. There's a lot of strong, older incumbents to fight for, but... And there we see one of them, Bryce's teammate from LA, Nick Icken, trained together at the same club. If we are 14-9 going into the end of this bout, can Bryce close it out?
This all Penn turned all California final between these teammates. And it's Bryce Louis with a 15-9 triumph to become Penn's first NCAA men's foil titleist since 1997.
Yeah, good, really good friends, these two. And so I'm sure they are so happy to be here together. But great fencing by Bryce to get here. A really well-deserved win.
Celebration always a bit muted when it's two teammates on the championship strip, but nonetheless, our congratulations. You're an NCAA champion. Has that sunk in yet?
No, it hasn't. There's just been so many struggles this past year with training and everything, and I can't thank anyone except my family, man. They've supported me to the world and back. It means the world to have them here and share this moment with them, so I couldn't have done it without them.
Clearly, you're an emotional and energetic fencer, and it's difficult to go up against a teammate. How were
100%.
you able to overcome the challenge?
I just wanted to say, man, thank you so much to my best friend. Blake Bros just fenced him in the finals, and it is a very emotional bout with me and him because he knows me best. He's the hardest worker in the room, and seriously, I couldn't have done it without him. It's kind of an achievement that Penn, this is the first time that we're fencing in the finals and representing Penn together, so that's amazing.
Yeah, here's a little bit more history. The first fencing individual title for Penn since 2013. That came in men's saber. And it's Bryce Louie who brings it home, the senior, your NCAA foil champion. When we return, saber takes center stage. Luke Linder is back atop the men's saber table after our round-robin competition, 22 victories, and the two-time champion from Notre Dame, a plus 63 indicator, as dominant a one seed as you will see. And that gives Notre Dame a chance to extend its historic streak of most consecutive years winning at least one individual title. If Linder does it here, they'll be alone atop this chart with 7 consecutive years, dating back to 2017. Linder's challenged the 4 seed, Ayad Maru from Wayne State.
Yeah, and that's an impressive streak of individual champions. And I think you have to look at Luke Linder as the favorite to take it again, right? I mean, not only is he a 2-time previous NCAA champion, but he has just had such an impressive showing in the round-robin stage. I mean, 3 bouts ahead of the next person and only dropping 1 is... It's kind of hard to express how hard that is, but in this bout, in the semifinal bout, he's in control the whole time, finishes it out 15-7, and shows why he is fine.
Yeah, the senior from Chandler, Arizona, making it look easy. He awaits the winner of our second semifinal, Luca Fioretto of Ohio State, or Neil Liloff from Penn State.
Yeah, and good to see another Penn Stater in the finals again. But this bout is a fun bout to watch. Liloff. I really love fence. I mean, you can see he's got so much speed and really good strong technically. He also, pretty much maintains a good lead throughout this entire bout and ended up closing it out 15-7.
A sophomore from New Jersey in his first NCAA appearance will now challenge the senior and the 2-time NCAA champion. And we'll note that as much as really any other fencer in the round-robin format, Neil had some good success against Luke Linder, coming within a touch at 5-4.
Yeah, I really think it's hard to say that Luke Linder isn't the favorite. I mean, he is. He's so experienced and he's still dominant. His decision-making is just so strong, and he's got such great reach and physical ability. He's quick. He's got the whole package. But I do think that this year, I think Liloff has a pretty good shot, right? I mean, he's fencing really well. He's fast. He's got good action variety. So I'm excited to see how this goes.
After reliving his 2021 and 23 championships, now he has a chance to join an illustrious list of NCAA men who have won 3 fencing titles. How about some of these names?
Yeah, here we have people who have won 3 times. There's a reason it's a short list. It's really, really hard to do. So we'll see if Luke can make this list this year.
As for Neil, he's got a chance to make some history too. Can Penn State get their 12th men's saber title in this format? Our final individual bouts of this championship weekend in Columbus, Ohio. The Ohio State University has been a great host. Let's decide men's saber on the center strip.
On guard. Ready. Hit!
So we've talked about how important it is to come in with a plan right when the referee says fence there, and I think Luke Linder had it perfectly there. Neil Liloff came in with a really fast attack, and Luke Linder, I think, knew that was coming and pulled him short just exactly right. And then gets that second attack to make it 2-0.
The first 3 belong to Notre Dame.
Yeah, there we see Lilov coming forward quickly, but he was like, if you're hesitating with your blade, that's that preparation, and Luke Linder capitalizes on that. Here we have the ref calling together, so they both have the same, or at least close enough actions where it's too close to call. And you see that arm come out just a little bit quicker from Luke Linder. So Lilov getting the worst end of, but they're really, really close touches. So these are small adjustments to make.
Preparation.
Oh, okay, so the ref's going to change it. So this one going to Lilov instead.
What a win. I thought that challenge was as much to change the early tempo of the bout as anything else, but he gets a point off of it. And now some momentum.
On guard. Ready. Fence.
I love it when teammates fence, and I know the schools like to have the championship, but the environment is so much better when you get Penn State against Notre Dame.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, two old rival schools. Maybe Notre Dame pulling ahead in recent years in terms of championships, but the two schools go way back in terms of fighting for most championships.
On guard.
And there, Luke Linder using that reach to get that counterattack. And a nice parry post there.
Linder putting the full repertoire on display early here, recapturing a 2-touch lead.
Ready. Fence.
What do you make of that pause there?
Yeah, so both of them come forward, kind of like quickly stop, and then so the question is who restarts first, and Luke Linder just gets his arm out first, so that touch goes to him.
And it is the arm, the weapon that initiates the action, right? Don't get caught looking at the feet.
It's tough, actually. It's not. I wish it were that simple. I would say if you had to boil it down to one thing, it's commitment, right? So the further in you are or committed you are, I think that is the biggest thing to look at. So that can be whether that's the hand or the feet is kind of it's hard to always say. But if you are more committed faster, then that's usually the thing.
Sometimes your commitment can come after the touch too, selling it to the crowd and to the director.
Yeah, very true, especially in saber.
Single light here, no decision necessary.
I'd say saber is got to be the most subjective in terms of the calls. Epee the most objective because there's no right of way in Epee.
Linder had the possession there for a while. He took his time.
Yeah, so now we go to break, but a nice finish of the attack. That's tough, part of the reason that there is so much action in the center in saber and why we say it's so important to come, ready when the ref says fence is because it's so hard to defend in saber, right? So when those exchanges happen after that, where someone's actually really moving down the strip, the onus is very much on the defender to figure out a way out of it. So and that can come in a couple of ways. That's either getting the attacker to stop, so you can take over the attack, or baiting out a finish into a place where you can parry, or hopefully get them to hesitate where you can counterattack. But those are all really hard because there is so much target in saber. It is so easy to finish that attack.
Clock not a factor here in saber. Only the 8 break to reset. Let's see if Lilov can turn it around. Good start.
Yeah, still in it.
Ready. Fence.
Goes for what's called a sky hook there, where you kind of invert your blade upside down and try to tap your opponent's arm while you're backing away from them hitting your body.
Meantime, Linder going for some alley-oops. Back-to-back slam dunks for a 10-6 lead. Point out to try and slow Neil down. He powers through.
Nice attack from Lilov. Really long. There, another one. catches the blade on the way in and uses those long, fast legs to catch him all the way there. It's not easy. I mean, Luke Linder is a very tall guy, so he's got a lot of distance to catch up on.
Yes. Into the guard, too low. Post from left.
So Luke Linder asking for the replay, saying, "Oh, is it my?" He thinks it was his blade action. The referee says no, it's too low on Lilov's guard. Call stands.
Some of that length you just described.
Yeah.
On guard. Ready. Fence.
Oh wow, that was a really nice job by Lilov to get himself out of a sticky situation. So you saw he made this really long high commitment attack, and it's really because of that long lunge, it's really hard to recover all the way and get out. But he just ducks and kind of closes out his target to get out of that. So really nice escape, and then again another nice attack finish there. I think you're seeing a lot of his not just speed but creativity on the strip, and this is a really close bout now.
Ready. Fence.
What a way to finish our 2024 NCAA championships. Coming down to the wire in men's saber.
Ready. Fence.
Another close one to call. So he's going to call preparation on Luke Linder, so attack for Lilov. He's going to review it, though.
Preparation illustrating a lack of the commitment that you described earlier.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So back within one.
And no challenges left for Luke.
Ready. Fence.
Oh, and a good release from Lilov there. So he's doing a really good job of even though it's a really dangerous spot to put yourself in, right, when your attack falls short, because usually that's just a big advantage for the for the person who just defended against that. But that's 2 times now where he's got himself out of it.
What a response from our 2-time champion Luke Linder.
On guard. Ready. Fence.
Oh, very close there. Now he's in a tough spot, right? This is what we talked about, where you don't want to be on the defending end here. It's so hard to figure out a way out of that.
Linder puts his light on again. He's within one of the top spot on the podium.
On guard. Ready. Fence.
Oh, nice. Lilov managed to finish that attack too. He's still it's close bout, 13-14.
On guard. Ready. Fence.
To the monitor.
Yeah, I mean that looks to me I guess it's going to depend on where when the blades made contact, but it looks like it's attack from Lilov.
The reprise from my left, no. Attack from right.
Wow. That's how it ends. You see, he holds up the 3 fingers. Luke Linder, golden again for the Fighting Irish.
That was, I got to say, really well fenced by Luke Linder. That was, but I was really impressed with Lilov's performance that bout. That was a really fun bout. I think probably one of the most exciting that we've had for the whole day, and really enjoyed watching that. Good win from Luke.
2021, 2023, and now 2024. He's the 11th man to do it in NCAA history. From the round-robin competition straight through our final, the number 1 seed prevails. Congratulations, Luke. History made today as you're now a 3-time NCAA champion.
Man, it feels amazing. Great for the program. I know all the Saber guys on our team, they're pushing for me, they're pulling for me, so I think it's just representative of everything we've done over the past 3 years, practicing and just loving one each other. So credit to them for everything.
And yeah, this championship bout was a great battle. How did you come out on top?
Yeah, it was just keeping a long distance. Neil's a great fencer. We fenced earlier in the season, excluding today. Great competitor, but just keeping the long distance from him. He's quick, he's fast, he's dangerous, but this long distance really helped there.
And as an academic senior, what's next for you?
Graduation. I don't know yet, but maybe even next year. I have another year of eligibility, and I'd love to help our team. So.
All right, Luke, we'll be here waiting for you if that's a decision you make after extending Notre Dame's streak to 7 years with at least one individual title. Notre Dame's 7th in men's saber and record-extending 45th individual crown for the Irish. When we return, a recap of Harvard's team title here at the NCAA Fencing Championships. ESPN's coverage of the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship continues on Friday with Final Four coverage at 7 p.m. Eastern and 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Harvard earned its first team title in 2006, and when the Crimson return home, that trophy will have a new neighbor. The 2024 NCAA Fencing Team Champion, with 2 of their fencers winning individual titles as well. 7 of the 12 athletes earned first or second team All-American honors, and the first NCAA fencing national champion with a female head coach. Daria joins us now. Coach Schneider, thanks for your time. Congratulations. How proud are you of your team?
I'm incredibly proud. I mean, I started the day out proud before they even finished fencing today. I'm just proud of all the work that they did in the whole season, but also in the last 2 weeks when we realized that we had a shot to compete for the title here today. We asked them to do some pretty crazy stuff, and they embraced it and they went with it, and I think it made a big difference for us. We were able to do this because we have the best assistant coaches in the country, the best captains in the country, and we have the best freshman walk-ons in the country.
Well, you've won an individual title in saber and now a team title as a head coach as well. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
David, as we review the champions and take a closer look at the 2024 championship, big picture, what stood out to you?
I mean, Harvard just really performed well. I actually think Daria sold herself a little bit short in that interview earlier, saying that a couple weeks ago they realized they had a shot at the championship. I cannot imagine a world where she didn't know from the beginning of the season that they had a shot at the championship because they have such a strong team. Right, and she's been doing such great work, so no doubt that this was the goal they had in mind, and they achieved it.
Well, we hope it's a tremendous Olympic summer for all of our collegians who have taken either a gap year or who will use this event to catapult them to Paris 2024. And we look ahead to our future NCAA sites as well. Next spring, we'll be at Penn State. Our congratulations to the Crimson and all our individual All-Americans and medalists. For David Willett, for Carrie Collins, and our entire production staff, I'm JB Long. Thank you for joining us for the NCAA Fencing Championships.